today and had a really good productive work day today. And I think, again, we got 2 tough games this weekend next. Friday against an undefeated Merrimack team, and then next Thursday against a very, very good, tough Central team on the road. So we still have our work cut out for us, but we did have a chance to take a little bit of a breather, rest some legs. And I think this next 10, 12 days will be probably our last opportunity, but a good one to clean some things up, make sure everybody understands schemes and roles and so forth as we head into that last 2-week stretch.
Good in the aspect of we can kind of like break down and all the stuff that we've been kind of like wanting to work on but haven't really gotten a lot of time because we had to prepare for like games and stuff. It's good to work on that, but it is kind of like nice to just get into the flow and get normal playing time and just be like, okay, this is what we do every day.
So just in the sense that we can now like break things down in practices, because when we had those games like right after each other, we didn't have much time to like go back to what we didn't do well in the previous games. We just had to like focus on the next game. So I think this week we're really gonna pinpoint the things that we need to work on, and we're gonna make those better for the long run. And when we have playoffs, we'll be able to execute them better than we have before.
I think we play well too when we're like in a rhythm and we're coming off a win. We have one day of practice and then we play another. It kind of like gives us good rhythm and stuff. But definitely having a few practices kind of settles us down a little bit, makes us think a little more. So yeah, either way,
it's fun to have 3 games in a week because there's like less practicing, and so it's just fun to have more like with that. But it's also good to have like practices in one game because you're like really prepared for that game. It is good for us to kind of have a few days to be like, okay, those things that we were working on a little bit, now we can really focus on because we don't have to focus so much on like the playing and who we're playing against. So.
They're doing a great job. Coach Susi's doing a great job with those kids. They play really hard. I've seen them 2 or 3 times live and a couple of times, obviously a handful of times on tape. The first thing that jumps out at you is how hard they play. They really, really compete. They're athletic. They're hard-nosed. And so that in and of itself, is a challenge just to sort of match that level of intensity. And, they seem like they're coming after people, just like we do. A little bit of a different scheme and so forth, but the basic principle is we're coming after you. And so it's going to really require us to execute, stay under control, continue, play fast, play aggressive, match that intensity, but, do it under control with a focus on really making good decisions while we try to match that intensity. So it's going to be a really interesting matchup.
They're definitely a hardworking team, and you got to give them credit. They're undefeated, but I think it is good for us to kind of play in up-tempo speed because I know, like, New Hampshire teams, when you say up-tempo, that might not necessarily mean, like, up-tempo, but they do work hard, and we just have to realize as a team that they're not going to stop coming at us. So even if we're up by 20, they're going to still treat it like they're only down by, like, 2 points. So I think it's going to be good for us to kind of just say, like, hey, even though we're up, we got to continue to play like we're down. So I think it'll be a good test just to see, like, how we as a team react to a team that can compete with us and keep coming at us just like Memorial.
We're undefeated, so we just need to go in as we know how to play, and hopefully the outcome will be what we want it to be.
I think it's going to show us how tough we are. Obviously, they're scrappy, so we got to kind of play physical back, but we also have to play our game. Like, it's not just about the other team, so I think that'll be probably the toughest one for us. The toughness.
It's going to be great. I mean, back-to-back games, 2 rivalry games. I mean, local rivalry games. The guys know each other well. On the girls' side, we know each other well. All 4 teams at or near the top of, the standings in both the boys and the girls' side. It's a great fundraiser for us. It's a Coaches versus Cancer fundraiser, so we've got lots of interesting stuff planned for the evening. So I would expect, if you want to get in, you got to get here early. I think it's going to be a packed house for both games and pretty exciting atmosphere, so everybody's looking forward to it.
Very exciting. Merrimack's always a big crowd, even if it's not a doubleheader, and now especially since it is a doubleheader and everybody comes out for the guys' game, there's going to be a lot of energy and a lot of excitement in the gym on Friday, and I think a lot of people are going to be there, and a lot of people will be watching and ready to play because of all the energy that's going to be there. There's going to be a lot of people there, and it's going to be like a lot of energy, so it's going to be fun.
I think Friday night's probably going to be our most fun night that we have this year, just in the sense that we're playing after the boys. We normally have the first game, so us being able to have the second game and it being for a great cause, because it's the Coaches vs. Cancer game, so I think a lot of people are going to be there, and it's going to be a great atmosphere to play in.
I'm really excited. Usually the boys get a lot more attention than us because they have closer games. So I think it'll be fun to kind of have a bigger atmosphere. It'll be a lot more engaging for not only the crowd but for the team too. So yeah, I'm excited.
Like this so far, and I think the Coaches versus Cancer thing just kind of like blew up out of the water, and everyone was like, gotta be there, it's gonna be a huge game, especially to have the boys right before us. That brings in a lot of people. And then when people stayed for our game, for the most part, it was just there's so many people. Like, a lot of my family members were like standing and stuff, and a lot of my friends were standing, and they couldn't believe it. They were like, I came to watch you play, and like usually we've never seen a crowd like that. So I think that was awesome. I love the energy, and I love being so excited for games like that. So
it was definitely awesome to have all those people come out and support, like BG parents, Merrimack parents, BG students, Merrimack students. So it was really awesome to see everyone come out, watch the game, and like support the cause. It was definitely like a little chaotic. Everyone's in there. People can't even like sit. It's really hot in there. So like as we're warming up, you're already sweating, and you can feel like the little breeze from the doors come in. But it was definitely like a little like nerve-wracking having all those people there. Like we're not used to having so many people come out. But also it was like we've had that many people come to like the championship game before, so we've known how to play in front of all those people. So I think it was just really fun to have everyone there watching.
Well, definitely getting ready. You saw everyone showing up for the boys game, which everyone expected. And then just with it being the Coaches versus Cancer game, everyone was like just like really excited, and we all knew it was for a good cause. So coming into that game, we had our fans were crazy. We had a bunch of parents helping out for the games, like they were already there early. And then the student sections that night was probably one of the best student sections I've seen in a while, and it was definitely louder than like most ever any time we've ever played. And I personally think it was louder than SNU, like when we've been there for playoffs, because we're in a smaller gym. So just like the atmosphere was a crazy feeling that night.
Like it was like a SNU game. Like we were like, this is like championship feels right now. It was kind of like that energy and that like noise. It was kind of like we were back at SNU, so it was kind of like exciting just because like we've been there. And it was also kind of like, you kind of had those like nervous feels too, like before championship game, so it was good. I thought it brought a lot of energy to us coming out strong.
It was definitely good for us. It helped. I think it motivated us to kind of keep the high energy up and just play good in general, because we don't usually have that many people at a girls' game. So yeah, it was really cool. The energy in there was great, and it was just a really cool environment to be in.
The atmosphere overall was fantastic. From 5 o'clock, from the tip of the guys' game, the place was pretty packed, loud. The band was rocking. Competitive game when the guys' game, low scoring but just grinding, competitive game, and a great finish. Obviously, went to overtime. So couldn't have asked for more environment-wise. It was exactly what you'd want for a high school basketball, event on a Friday night. I got to give all the credit to Coach Fisher on the guys' side. He called me, I don't know, maybe 7 weeks ago, and said, hey, I got an idea, and I know we were already scheduled to do the Merrimack doubleheader, and he had the idea, let's do a fundraiser and really try to raise some money for a great cause and so forth. So he really spearheaded the whole thing. He was kind enough to let us sort of come along and so forth. So huge credit to Coach and the boys for really doing a lot of the work, and huge credit to our parents on the girls' side for stepping up and really kind of tag teaming it with Coach's crew. Great night, just a great night. Again, huge crowd. We raised a bunch of money for Dana-Farber. I think a couple grand for the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, which is great. And just seeing that gym so full and with so much energy and so forth, both from the Guertin student body as well as the Merrimack student body, was just a great thing. So all in all, couldn't have gone any better from that perspective. after we get through our walkthrough in what's usually the JV girls game, which we do, middle of the third quarter, I just pretty much leave them alone. I did, however, the other night actually go and talk to them right after the regulation before the overtime of the guys game, just to basically remind them that the last time we ended up having to wait in an overtime game was when we were up at Memorial, and we ended up starting pretty slow, and we kind of used it as a little bit of an excuse after the game. Well, we had to wait around. So I just said to them, listen, no excuses. So whatever it is you have to do to get yourself ready, again, you do. And I just wanted to kind of plant that seed a little bit. And that probably had nothing to do with me planting the seed, but we got off to a great start. So
We were really into the game, and it was only like 6 o'clock when the fourth quarter ended, and it was going into overtime. And we were like, they're not going to start the game early. Like, we're going to have to warm up for like an hour. So we were kind of more annoyed by that. But then once the game like went on, it was kind of like, okay, like we have 30 minutes now, and it was kind of like nice to kind of just like end the game and then go right out on the court. But it was definitely like we were ready to go like at the end of the fourth quarter.
Honestly, I think it gave us more of like a go momentum. Watching our guys come out with that win was like a really cool feeling. And then us being in like that where we were in the corner, we hadn't done our pregame ritual yet because we knew that could happen where it went into overtime. So as soon as the game ended, we went into the hallway, did our pregame ritual, and we were all ready to go back out.
We definitely were like longing for the game, and we couldn't wait to play. And the big thing was that we had 30 minutes. So if the boys' game did end when it should have at the fourth quarter, then we would have had 30 minutes to warm up, basically. So we hoped that it kind of went into overtime, and we weren't upset over it, but like we're always going to cheer for our boys and like the teams and stuff like that, and the energy we still brought, and they won, so it was like all just like we were so excited, and I think it was a really good game too. So.
But it was definitely cool to watch the boys' game. We never really get to watch their games because we play on the same days as them. And it was definitely exciting to have that go into overtime in front of all those people. The energy in the gym was awesome.
on Friday night was probably the best defense we've played all season. Coach Brad, Coach Dave, after the game, they were real excited about how we played our defense. And the beginning of the third quarter, as we come out sometimes flat in the third quarter, but our defense, we came out really
That
strong.
always says that sometimes in some games shots aren't going to fall, layups aren't going to go in, and there's nothing we can really do about that. So we need to have to rely on our defense. And I think we went through a few patches in the game where we couldn't hit shots weren't going down for us. So we really had to maintain our lead and defend them, keep them out from scoring. And I think we did a good job of that, really locking them down and knowing that our points will eventually come. Defense will lead to offense, and that's what happened.
We kind of like took that as like, okay, our shots aren't going in. We need to do something else to get us started. So we kind of focused more on defense and on the offense, because usually when we play good defense, the offense will come with it. And even if it doesn't, as long as we stop them from scoring, if we're having a little bit of like a hard time getting it in, we can still keep that lead or keep it close because we're preventing them from scoring too.
I think that the connection kind of defensively and offensively was there, and I think the big thing was we had a little bit more communication, I think, yesterday, and I think the atmosphere kind of brought everyone's minds kind of like right into this game. Like, it was the game you want to show up, and especially with so many people, so many fans, I think that got into like a lot of our freshmen, and they were thinking about it, and they said they were so nervous before the game, and that they're so excited, but like they don't even know what to feel because there's so many things going on, and it was just I couldn't believe it. I loved it, and like defense is like my specialty. I love it, and it's my like diehard end of basketball type game. So I think that was a big thing, and I think that by far is the best defensive game we've had all season.
Scoring 63, 65. So we scored plenty. We usually score in the mid-60s sometimes. Anyway, so our issue is never scoring the basketball. Somehow, some way, we usually end up figuring out how to score the basketball. The big issue for us, and we're getting much better at it, and I think over the last 2 or 3 games, you've seen us make a huge step in the right direction, is how we defend. With our press game, in transition, in the half court, and so forth. And we went out to Syracuse the weekend before last and did a really, really good job defensively from start to finish. And then I thought actually the Merrimack game from start to finish was our best defensive effort of the year. So sort of seeing that progress coming down the stretch in the back third of the season always makes me feel better, because as I say to the girls all the time, there are some things you can't control. And whether the ball goes in the basket as much as you want it to isn't always something you can control. You can have great possessions and you can take great shots and so forth. Sometimes it just doesn't go in. Sometimes it will, but sometimes it just doesn't. And on those nights when we're not scoring the basketball well, we really have to rely on our defense, and that is something we can control. So they're really taking to that concept, and I think they're really taking a lot of pride in the defensive end of the floor, and getting stops for them is as exciting as hitting a three. And you saw that energy on the defensive side of the floor Friday night.
Well, the doctor was telling me, he said it just very, like, low-key. He was just almost like, so it is torn, and I was like, wait, what? I had to, like, process it for a second, because he just, like, I don't think he wanted to really say it so directly, because he was nervous for my reaction, but, yeah, so my heart just kind of dropped, and I was like, wow, like, this is it. I'm not going to be playing again this season, so it's definitely tough, but I still think I'll be able to help my team out in other
She had
ways.
about as tough a break as you could get. That kid has plugged away and plugged away and plugged away for her entire time here, and this was the year where she finally got herself into the starting lineup. She was having a great year, and then she tears her ACL 8 or 9 games into the season. It's just devastating. But the thing about Aria that we've known since the day she walked in here, that I think people are probably recognizing now, watching how she's dealing with a pretty tough situation, is that she mentally is about as tough a kid as we've ever had here, and she's about as team-oriented and unselfish a kid as we've ever had here.
Basically, I've been scouting out the teams that we're going to be playing in the future. I scouted out Jamesville, Merrimack, and just did Central, and kind of get their plays down and then I teach them to the team and have them run through them so they know how to defend things or how to execute offensively when we actually do play the teams, and it actually worked out pretty well with Jamesville and Merrimack, and we'll see how the plays go with Central when we play them on Thursday.
The fact that she has really taken it upon herself to almost become an extension of the coaching staff, and she just dived headfirst into the film. And so for the Jamesville game and the Merrimack game, and then even today as we're prepping for Central, she's done all the scouting. She's done all the film scouting, and as we've worked through our game prep and so forth, she's literally led that like a coach on the floor. So seeing a kid that's had that much kind of taken away from her, not sulk or sort of just go sit in the corner and so forth, but actually step up and find a way to continue to contribute, says about as much as you're ever going to need to know about a kid like that. She's just a special kid, and I'm just really proud of her for just finding a niche, finding something that she could do even on one leg to continue to contribute to the team, and that's a wonderful thing. It's a rare and wonderful thing.
Yeah, I definitely would love to coach. I mean, I've always wanted to coach, so doing this right now kind of just gives me a little taste of like what it would be. So, yeah, I've always wanted to coach a basketball team when I was older, whether it's an AAU team or a high school team or something. So this is just kind of giving me like a taste of what it's gonna involve.
Pushing the ball that's a little bit different than any other team. They're ones that they get the ball in, they reverse it, and then it's kind of go time for them, and I think that's a type of game we play, and I think that it's going to be kind of who can outrun the other team kind of game, and I think that obviously breaks down defensively and stuff like that, but I think the big thing is going to be kind of slowing them down and taking over our pace.
They're always a tough team, especially going up to Central. It's a hard place to play in, so we really need to come in strong, start the game strong, just like we always been doing. But we're definitely going to have to rely on defense again. We never know if our shots are going to be falling. I think we've been getting better on the defensive end, and we're starting to be really strong as a team, which is good as it comes to playoffs and stuff. But they're always a tough team. They're always looking to run their athletics, so we need to just match that and play our normal game.
Definitely their gym is probably one of the hardest gyms to play in, and they're a team from Manchester, so they're going to come after us, and they're really scrappy, and they got grit, so they're not gonna back down from anyone. So we got to go in playing really hard, really physical, and we'll come out with a W if we do that.
It's good to kind of just go on the road and just kind of focus on us, and we kind of like to play up tempo, and chaos really, I mean, it may look chaotic, but we kind of have like a order to how we do things. But chaos is good for us if the other team's playing chaotic, because we can speed them up even more and turn them over. So it's kind of plays into our hands a little bit if they're going to speed it up and kind of go all over the place, because that's kind of what we're used to from our press and speeding everybody up. So hopefully we can like take that, because usually teams try to play under control and we make them chaotic, but this team is a little chaotic and kind of fast paced and kind of like get into you. So as long as we're aggressive and we kind of like just do our thing, I think it should be a good game.
This is our 5th year as a staff. We have never played a Central team that hasn't been tough as nails and competed like heck. It's just a staple of who they are. I know it's the culture that Coach Winters has built there. So whether he's got unbelievable talent, average talent, it doesn't really much matter. They are tough as nails, and they're particularly tough at their place. It's just a hard place to play. And so, you know, we seem like we always end up playing there. And, you know, we've had some decent success there, but it's never been a cakewalk. It's always been tough, and, you know, you wake up and get out of bed the next day, and almost without exception, the girls always say, geez, you know, man, I'm beat up. So, you know, you have to earn it against them. And I just have so much respect for how they play. Just tough kids.